Cameron Graves, who is the piano player for, or has played piano with Kamasi Washington, an amazing saxophonist out of Los Angeles. Check out his album, The Epic, if you have not, Kamasi's. But Cameron Graves has just released an album called The Seven. It sounds to me like 80s Zappa made an album with late 70s Steely Dan. It is a pretty interesting, fun listen if you're into sort of a jazz, slightly fusion-y thing. Cameron Graves, 7. Hello, I'm Shaggy, the opinionated hippie. Thank you for watching my channel. I'm currently ranking and reviewing every single Frank Zappa album released after he passed away in December of 1993. I already did the ones released when he was alive elsewhere on this channel. But right now, for these post-Zappa releases, I'm on number 42, The Crux of the Biscuit. If you know where that lyric comes from, it is a Stinkfoot lyric, and that was on Apostrophe. And so this album is essentially an Apostrophe album. It is part of a series called Project Object that is fantastic, absolutely wonderful. Essentially, each one of the Project Object releases focuses on a single album, or in one case, 2 albums, which makes sense. And this is, there's been 5 of them. This was the 4th one, and this one just kind of came out of nowhere. So the first one was Mofo, which was the Freak Out one, which focused on Freak Out. The second one was Lumpy Money, which focused on Lumpy Gravy and We're Only In It For The Money, which makes sense that they were paired together. The third one was Greasy Love Songs, which had focused on Reuben and the Jets. And then this came out, all of a sudden Apostrophe. So it was kind of like, oh man, it looked like they were going sequential, and then all of a sudden jumped to Apostrophe. But then the next one was Meat Light, which went back to Uncle Meat. So, you know, maybe we are still kind of going sequentially. And then Hot Rats kind of came out after Meat Light. And then Mother 70. So it does look like there is some weird sequential thing. Those weren't in the Project Object series per se. But anyways, so this focuses on Apostrophe, the album. And the reason it is number 42 and my enjoyment of this is based on the fact that I'm not that big a fan of Apostrophe, the album. Out of the 55 albums Frank released when he was alive, Apostrophe was my 31. I explained the reasons why on that video. I know that is not a popular view. I know a lot of people love that album a lot more than me. But I give my reasons on that album. I stand by them. I think they're valid. And I'm probably going to repeat them all here on this video right now. So there is some really, really good stuff on this before I go any further. In fact, there were one track I think everybody should hear that I think is an all-time classic, and then a second track which is pretty close. But the other stuff I like, but I don't love. So anyways, one other particular thing I want to say before I start getting into the actual meat of what is on here, like the actual tracks. Because if you know Apostrophe, you know this music. So like really, I don't have to explain the songs. I'll just kind of reveal what versions of the songs and whether they're worth checking out. But there's no Stinkfoot on here. There's nothing Stinkfoot related at all, which I find interesting because every other track is represented. Even if there wasn't anything interesting in the studio regarding Stinkfoot, you know, just throw on a live 74 Stinkfoot, you know, why not? The more 74 stuff we have, throw on the first ever Stinkfoot, you know, do something. Just maybe give us a little Stinkfoot. That's my only other complaint. But there were 15 tracks. Here's what they are. It opens up with Cosmic Debris, just Cosmic Debris. So nothing new there. That is not a song I need to hear again. I think this is, other than the guitar solo, one of my least favorite arrangements. It's just a little too slow. I kind of like the faster sort of silly versions of them. It's not a song that in any set list I'm ever super excited to hear, I'll be perfectly honest with you. But for some reason, I always thought it worked best in the spring '79 shows, that Europe tour for some reason. It came early in the set and just seemed to work for some reason. But I don't know. I don't ever want to put this on knowing Cosmic Debris is the first song. Second song is a longer version of Uncle Remus. Fantastic song. This is worth checking out. There's a little extra vocals, a little extra guitar playing. Really neat. Worth checking out. That's one of the two sort of tracks I think you must hear. Especially if you like that song, you need to hear the longer version of it. You get an alternate mix of Down and Do, which did not appear on Apostrophe, but apparently was recorded in the same sessions as Apostrophe, and then was released on Leather, which I will review much further down this list, giving away a little bit of the ending. Then there's an alternate mix outtake, so I'm assuming it's the same actual cut, but it's much longer, but a mix outtake of Apostrophe. So this is like a 9-minute version of Apostrophe. My problem with the original album was I don't think Apostrophe is that good of a song. And I kind of blame, I think it's just maybe not that interesting of a riff when it comes down to it. But I kind of blame what Jack Bruce is doing on the song. I'm a huge Cream fan. If you have not heard Cream's live version of NSU, track that down. I'm sure it's out there somewhere on Spotify or Amazon Prime. There's a good, like, healthy, I want to say it's like a 12 or 13-minute version floating around out there. Phenomenal. His bass playing on that is ridiculous. Also, his solo albums are pretty good. He's got one called Songs for the Tailor, or Songs for a Tailor. I think it came out in 71 or 72. Phenomenal sort of psych folk pop album. So I love Jack Bruce. I have no problem with Jack Bruce. On Apostrophe, I don't think he's any good. I don't think he and Frank, whatever their visions are for what a jam should be, they're not in the same headspace. And I just think it doesn't work. A lot of Frank's bands have tried this, but it's never stuck. Like the 84 band did it a couple times. I think it popped up in like late 75. The only band I think I've ever heard give this a shot and like succeed was the Bongo Fury tour did this. But that had such a weird aggression about it, that whole tour. It was a strange tour. Everything just kind of felt helter-skelter and off-kilter and stuff. And Apostrophe just kind of added to that. So it worked in that setting. Other than that, it's a song I've never really liked. And you get a 9-minute version of it on here. And then further on down, there's a song called Energy Frontier Bridge, the bridge of Energy Frontier. That is another 823 of Apostrophe. So apparently the bridge of Energy Frontier, which is also Down and to Do. So Down and to Do came from this longer thing called Energy Frontier, as did Apostrophe. And then part of that Energy Frontier bridge were used in the final version of Apostrophe. So you get another 8 minutes of it further on down this. So that's 17 minutes plus of Apostrophe, and I don't really like the song. So to me, it kind of wears down this album. Then you get Frank telling the story of Don't Eat the Yellow Snow, which I don't need, but it's only 2.5 minutes long. It's kind of interesting if you don't know it. It explains a lot of the sort of choices that are made in the song, particularly the San Alfonso's Pancake Breakfast part. And then you get a 20-minute, full 20-minute Australian Yellow Snow. This is an early version. Nanook kind of sounds the same. St. Alfonso's kind of has the same first 2 minutes or so, but then it just gets weird. Kind of the beats are a little off. The drum, he hasn't kind of finessed where he wants the drums to do in some parts. There's these random bursts of noise that get louder. He does this whole part where he makes the band play really, 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 really fast. Then he does this whole part where he spells the word margarine, but he spells it margarine, and then like the M stands for masochist, and the A stands for asshole in the audience, and that's actually pretty funny. It changed every night he did it. He had a couple things that he found out worked, and he kind of threw it in like the hyphen could be used to gratify a stenographer or something like that. And it worked at a show early there, and he kind of used that a lot. But other than that, there was a lot of improv. One of them is like the R, and some guys go, it stands for Ron. And he's like, oh yeah, Ron, happy birthday, Ron. We dedicate this show to Ron. So there's a lot of good, entertaining improv, and it's 20 minutes. The band sounds fantastic. If you like the 20-minute version on You Can't Do That on Stage Anymore, Volume 1, this is like equally as phenomenal. Possibly better just because it's a little bit rougher than that highly polished 79 version. But anyways, enough rambling about that. Phenomenal. Everybody should hear this. This is the track that gets this album all the way up to here on this list. Maybe should probably push it further up. Probably shortchanging a little because this is a phenomenal track. Anyways, then we get extra, I can't say this word, eccentrifugal force. You get an outtake on that. It's a little bit longer, and that moment where that slides into Apostrophe on the album is not here. You think it's going to be here, but they trick you, and it's not, and that's a little rough. One of my favorite moments on Apostrophe is robbed for me on this. Then you get a 3-minute and a 4-minute version of Down and To Do, where they're kind of jamming on that. That's kind of interesting. It shows how Frank went in the studio. They jammed on things a couple times. Frank took out parts and made the final mix. That's interesting. Then you get the Apostrophe 8-minute Energy Frontier bridge. Then you get a Cosmic Debris basic tracks. You get Cosmic Debris without the vocals. Yeah, I don't need that. Then we get Don't Eat the Yellow Snow basic tracks, kind of interesting. You get see how the drums kind of came up, how he was working through the drums. But again, it's only 2 minutes and it cuts. Then you get like 48-second tracks, roughly 45-second tracks of Nanook Rubs It that are outtakes. That again, not that satisfying. And then Frank says, we're done, cut the tape. So, 2 things I highly, highly recommend. I've been going on a long time. Uncle Remus, and the Don't Eat the Yellow Snow, all 20 minutes of that. Other than that, if you really like the song Apostrophe and you like the song Down in the Dew off Leather, there's a lot here, kind of jammy instrumentally. There's a nice flute solo in the Energy Frontier stuff, the Down in the Dew stuff. But apart from that, there's not really anything fantastic guitar solo-wise to satisfy that need for guitar other than like the Cosmic Debris solos. So that's it. Number 42. I've gone on far too long. The Crux of the Biscuit. Let me know why I'm wrong, because I know a lot of you love Apostrophe. And if you do like Apostrophe, and you haven't checked this out and you do check it out, I'd like to know how you feel about this after liking Apostrophe, because I want to know if it scratches any new itches or anything like that. So that's it. All right. Subscribe, all that. Algorithms. Peace. Take care.